Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Jones here with an important news alert dealing with an attack on the First Amendment on Infowars.com on the Alex Jones YouTube channel that's reached right at 145 million people in just the last few years. We've seen a lot of outrages from the private Federal Reserve, and below we're going to post links to these videos. You've seen them come up to my reporters in Kansas City who were 1,500 plus feet away, according to Google Maps, from the private Federal Reserve videotaping it, and their private security guards with guns showed up and outside of law said, "Leave or we're going to arrest you." And I'm going to talk more about that at the end of this video because it's very dangerous behavior by them. The courts, of course, have ruled over and over again that even though they were cops outside their duty and right, you have a right to defend yourself and resist. So very dangerous. They were doing things cops wouldn't do. So we've seen the Federal Reserve all over the country, countless videos. Just type in citizen or reporter threatened with arrest for videotaping Federal Reserve building, where people are in D.C., you name it, and people in black uniforms show up and say, "This is a federal building. You're going to be arrested." And people are just standing on the sidewalk. Now, the private Federal Reserve, one of their agents, has filed a complaint with YouTube, a privacy complaint. And these complaints can potentially shut down a channel or give you a strike. And we've had all sorts of straw man type stuff done in the past. We fight for these channels because we know we're reaching millions and millions of people a week on them. And the system knows that as well. But on day 3 of our trip around Texas last weekend, we stopped at the Federal Reserve in San Antonio. And about 150 people showed up out in the rain, pouring rain, and protested. And you've seen the video. The Federal Reserve is trying to take down the video right now that shows what looks like a post office or a federal building. But it's not. It's got federal seals and says Federal Reserve and has like a marble sidewalk around it that's a commons area. It's not posted that it's private. Doesn't say don't videotape. Doesn't say any of that. It masquerades as federal. Just like their agents do that show up in black uniforms with guns 1,500 feet away and say, "Get out of here. You're not allowed to tape. This is the federal building. Get out of here." Or just like they do in D.C. where they show up in black uniforms and say, "Get out of here. Let me see your camera." "Well, I'm on the sidewalk. I'm taping." "You can't tape our building. You've got to have permission to tape our building." It's just all in-your-face behavior. And I should have done something legally 2 years ago when they did this to Aaron Dykes and Rob Jacobson, and we still are looking at doing that. I've been talking to my lawyers over the weekend because I can only take so much from the Federal Reserve. Now they filed a complaint. I got a call yesterday about it, and the email from YouTube says, "Well, we can either take it down within 48 hours or it'll go to their review board, and then we face these sanctions if they do decide that it violates somebody's privacy." So I got on the phone to a member of the press I know, and also to a First Amendment lawyer, and just to make sure I was right. And they said, "Yes, Alex, of course you're right. A, you can film any building you want. Okay. B, if the Federal Reserve, we're out there protesting, and it doesn't delineate where the private property starts, and they come out with the police, the head of their security, and says, "Please get off our private property. It's right here," where the marble overlaps into the sidewalk, and it's clearly a commons area in the middle of downtown San Antonio. They come out to our group. They talk to us. We have a First Amendment right, totally, to show it. Just like the press can chase a mayor, in their own parking lot, saying, "Where are you going, Mayor?" Even though they're, quote, on their property in their parking lot. Or you can go bang on a door and say, "Why is your son truant?" And the news shows the parent's face. It's public interest. I'm not entertainment. I'm not trying to get you to be in my Nickelodeon special, Federal Reserve. Okay? You got that? It's news. That's how you're on the street or you're in an area where there's not a reasonable perception of privacy, like your front porch. You don't have privacy. And as I talked to the lawyer and to the free speech expert, they said, "Yes, Alex, why are you calling us? You know as much as we do or more." Yes, go ahead. Go up against them. So the Federal Reserve is trying to nix my First Amendment, public interest, a media event, a protest we're documenting, where this guy goes and gets the police. The Federal Reserve goes and gets the police. They come out and they tell us this is private property. And so I make the big joke pointing out that it's private property. Oh, it's private. We didn't, because for years the Federal Reserve said that they were government. And so we stepped back to 2 or 3 feet. Okay? That's the issue. And then later in the video they're trying to take down, we show 2 days earlier in Dallas where they have put up fences since I was there protesting 3 years ago and do have signs up saying private property, which is right in front of the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas with fake federal seals that looks just like the FBI building or the Capitol. It's all done Art Deco, same style to confuse people. So that's what the San Antonio Fed should have done. They should have put fences up on their property line where the sidewalk comes up, to their expanded sidewalk, and they should have put signs up saying that. Not have a representative march out with the police later when we're supposedly on their private property and said, get back, and then gone and complained to YouTube saying, well, I came out as a security guard from the Federal Reserve with the cops, and now they put this on the internet. It's incredible to see this type of garbage going on. So no perception of privacy, public entrance. Now, I want to expand on this. My reporters, I told them, whenever they go around the country, they were going to interview William K. Black about bank fraud a few years ago for Fall of the Republic, the guy who brought down the corrupt SNL scammers in Kansas City. And while they were there, they were driving, and the cab driver said, hey, there's the Federal Reserve, because he'd heard what they were talking about. So they pulled up, and they said, well, what's that? He said, well, that's the World War I Memorial. Well, that's a great place to get some video. It's 1,500 feet away. And it's up at this big city park. It's a city park. And they tape it, and people show up in black uniforms. Well, there's tourists walking around with cameras and stuff and say, we saw your film in the Fed. Because, they'd driven by that before they got there and filmed something. They said, yeah, give us your license. They're like, well, I don't have to, but okay. Now they're like, get out of here now. Get out of here. But you're not a cop. Even if you were a cop, you couldn't tell me to leave. And they got guns. They're like, it's going to be a problem. Get out of here. And to watch them do that and to watch them say, that's the federal bank over there. Again, implying that they're feds or something. It's just so humiliating and so anti-American, and to see this all over the country. But the good news is people are waking up the private Federal Reserve. And I'm not saying everybody that works for the Federal Reserve is evil. I'm not saying the people at the San Antonio Federal Reserve are inherently evil. But you need to not try to violate our First Amendment when you come out in the middle of our demonstration and stick your nose in a sea of cameras, knowing full well what's going to happen, and then walk away and then later complain about it. Okay? And by bringing attention to this, you've only got more people to look into it. So everybody, watch the video that's linked below. Watch the video where they come up to my guys with guns at a World War I memorial, and you can look at Google video. Just type in the Kansas City Fed and then look. Kansas City Fed's way down here. Here's the memorial where my guys are. 1,500 plus feet. They drove by here, stopped, shot some video. They said, oh, that's cool. Let's go up here. They're up here. Never got off the highway. Up here. And at the World War I memorial, these people just show up. And it's all over the country. Tourists all over the nation just get out and go, oh, look, it's the federal bank. And all of a sudden, people show up in black uniforms with silver belt buckles in some cases and went, federal officer, get out of here right now. I'll deal with you. And it's just so crazy. And now we go down to have our First Amendment as Americans in the rain on a Sunday. And we're over the edge, even though it's not posted, which is entrapment. Posted, and they get all angry and have the cops come out. And we're friendly about it and make the joke, oh, it's private. And then they say, we want that video taken down. Unbelievable. So, if you just type Rob Dew into Google, he got arrested 2 years ago in Pittsburgh for peacefully videotaping demonstrations and people being arrested. And we filed suit with our top Yale lawyer, Stuart Rhodes, who of course worked for Ron Paul of Oath Keepers. Dew has. And I'm not looking for trouble here, but you can crap on me and come up and threaten to arrest my guys for no reason in Kansas City and then now do this to us. You can crap on us, but you can't rub it in. We've had enough. The people of YouTube, the people of America have had enough. People should call the Federal Reserve. They should call the Federal Reserve in San Antonio and Dallas and tell them, leave us alone. Dallas is the head office for San Antonio.